Excuse me. Good girl, Blissy. Okay, come on then, Blissy. Well, good morning, everyone. And those who are watching a little bit later, it's quite early, so I've decided that we're going to do a bit of feeding with Bliss. As you can see, I've got her food here, and I know that I always tell you that I don't use a bowl, but for bringing it out here, it's just a bit easier. So, but I want to do some more disengagement work with Bliss, because I haven't really done it for a while. So I've got her food here, which is mixed in. She's got some really high value stuff in here as well. So we've got, probably won't be able to see that, but we've got some of the nice Ziwi Peak mixed in with this, as well as her ordinary normal kibble. So we're going to start off just by playing some games. So I do this with Bliss most sort of mornings with her food. So it's kind of, you know, what do we want her to do? Oh, we go that way this time. Yes, good girl. So we're going to do a little bit of, that's it, good girl. Yeah, good girl. See whether we can get to go that way. Good girl. So there you go. So we do a little bit of these games just to get her sort of motivated and working. So these are just your standard orientation games. So we mark her when she comes back. Yes, spin around us, send her out again. So this just gets her coming back. Then we can go with Thunder, which is, yes, good girl. Again, just another game that just keeps her running back and forward. Good girl. Good girl. Yes, good girl. Bliss, come here. Legs. Come, legs. 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 Middle. Good girl. So what I want to do now is I'm obviously going to see whether or not I can, you know, pop this food down and get Bliss to come away from it. And I might test this in several different ways. I might see if I can let her be eating the food and call her off it, because I'm sure you probably realise that once the dog's got their nose in food, it can be really difficult, and she is quite interested in it. Bliss. Good girl. Oh, what a good girl. Okay, go get it. So I can let her eat. Bliss. Oh, good girl. Good girl. Go, Bliss. Yes, good girl. Come on in. So the important thing here is that you've got to mix it up, because we don't want it to become, you know, she enjoys her food, but the key is to really let her know she's going to go back to it so that she can eat away. Bliss. And you can see this now, this whole disengagement. Bliss. Good girl. Wait. Middle. Okay, go. Okay, go get it. Bliss. Bliss. Good girl. Hop it up. Good spring. Good girl. Okay, go get it. So even though I'm using the bowl, you can see I'm kind of feeding in a very, very different way, trying to make sure that the food is a little bit more entertaining. Now I can go a bit further away. Bliss. Good girl. Right, Bliss, come here. Jump. Good girl. Go get it. So it's just a great way to test. Now this is what disengagement is all about, because that bowl of food can represent another dog, a squirrel, a cat, and as you saw, if you saw the video I did the other week, a rabbit. Bliss, good girl. And how do we start this? Obviously you can't start at this level. You know, I started this with one piece of food, put one piece of food down, let her immediately go and get the piece of food, and I might have let her get it 3-4 times in a row, because I don't want this to be punishing for the food. Okay, so we often as guardians, owners, whatever your handlers, you know, we can go for control way too early. So Bliss, good girl. Okay, go. So if we go for control too early, we kind of add that degree of punishment. So you can see that Bliss is happily coming away from that bowl. And then, I mean, sometimes she's wandering back to it anyway, and sometimes I'm releasing her to it. And that's because what I want is her to value coming to me, which gives me that chance, whether there is a squirrel, a rabbit, that she will come back and disengage, and she may want to go off again, but it gives me that chance to have that degree of control straight away. So we start by just popping one piece of food, let her get it, and this would be on lead. And then what I would do is, if I've got 2 people, then I would have Bliss on the lead and me kind of stood, and I would hold the lead against my belt buckle, and the other person would be just out of reach, and they would put the food down. Bliss would go over to investigate, but she wouldn't be able to get to it. And then I would, hello girlie, good girl. And then I would wait. And at this point, I mean, you've seen me call her here, but at this point I wouldn't be calling her. I would be waiting for her to switch off from the food and make her decision to return to me. So she would be staring at the food. She can't get to it. She might lunge a couple of bits on the lead, but then she's just going to go, okay. And then she's going to come back to me, and then I'm going to reward her. Okay. And then I'm going to run her back over to the food and let her get it. So she gets 2 rewards for coming back. She gets the food reward for coming to me. Hello, girlie. And the food reward for coming away. Now, what I can also do is I can add a little bit of play. And if I get her favourite, so I probably, oops, excuse my handkerchief. Hay fever is always a bit worse first thing in the morning. So what I can do is I can also call her away, not just to food, but to a toy. Bliss, sit. Good girl. And I can just pop some food in there. Oop, try not to go flying. Okay, go get it. But Bliss would probably prefer the frisbee. So you can see these. Now she has eaten, so I mean, Bliss, get it. Good girl. Bliss, this way. Oh, Bliss, Blissy, pop, pop. So you can see this time she's like, no, I'm going to finish that off. Only because there's a few pieces, so we pop some in. Bliss, yes, good girl. Don't go semi-flying, girl. Ready? Ready? Good girl. Okay, go get it. Go get it. See how there's food in the bowl and she's now not interested because she's in this. Ready? Get it. The reason I love these, you play a little bit of tug. Ready? What's in? Bliss. Yes, good girl. So you can see we can engage, and we've still got some food in there. And we're just going to play a little bit of magic hand. And then with the disengagement, we ramp it up to more food, higher value food, bigger distance, but probably on a long line. And then when I want to move to off lead, I use a crate, but you can use something like a colander, or if you've got any sort of fence cage type, metal mesh type, or an old puppy pen that you can just pop the food inside. Dog can mooch around while they can't get to the food, and when they disengage, you reward them. And once they're doing that consistently, then it's time to add the word. Okay, so we don't add the word too early because we really want to make sure that the dog values returning to you in their own brain, and then the word is so much more easy to apply. Bliss, pop up, good girl, good girl. Okay, and then once we've done that, then we will do it with the crate door open, but we'll go back to, once we open the crate door, we'll go back to one piece of food and low value, and then we'll work through the stages of low value, medium value, high value. And then with Bliss, I actually did it with her toys because, as you can tell, I really like the fact that she's so susceptible to reinforcement with a toy, with food, with praise. And that's something that I invested time in when she was a pup. Something I didn't necessarily do with Rebel. Rebel is, as everyone knows, an absolute food beast. But Bliss, I raised her very, very differently to how I raised Rebel. So again, as you know, Rebel's 8 now, so 8 years ago, the way that we raised a puppy was a little bit different. And so there's been some new science, some new things, all the stuff about games-based training, and I raised Bliss that way. What it's created is a dog that, you know, is motivated by Bliss. Ready? Even that, she finds value in that little jump up, don't you, girl? Good girl. Ready? Bliss, come on. So she finds value, excuse the mic, she finds value in that as well. So there's a little bit of a live on Disengagement. I like to do the odd live just so you can see that, you know, if it goes wrong, it goes wrong, and you see how we work through that. So you could see when she didn't necessarily come off, it was only, and I only put like 3 pieces in, so for her, she's like, no, I may as well finish them off before I disengage. But you can see that when we went back to it, she's happy to come away for a toy, happy to come away for food, and for a little jump. So if anyone has got any questions, just pop them in. I do have, obviously, a disengagement guide. I think it's £12, and it goes through all those stages that I went through to get Bliss to that. So I say it's £12, and it goes every single step, and it goes right the way through toys, food, high value, and obviously more distraction. Good girl, Blissy. Good girl. We got, yes. Ready? Yes, good girl. Whoa. Good girl. And that's how we give her a breakfast. It's a great way to kind of, you know, make the feeding interactive. Again, the experience of food for Bliss is really interesting. It gives her a little bit of a challenge, gives her a little bit of brain work, but also I'm involved in it, which again keeps me as that sort of resource provider, keeps the value, pop, bring it, keeps me as that valuable person in her life, which makes it much easier for her to want to return and be focused on me. Yeah. And, you know, obviously I'm doing a little bit of exercise here, but because she's eaten in a slower way, for those of you that have got deeper chested dogs, obviously not so much exercise, simply because we don't want to bring on any GDV or bloat. So, but doing it in terms of like the thunder and feeding like that, it's less likely, because what's happening when they're taking out of a bowl is they take big gulps of air in when they get a mass load of food. So by feeding sort of one piece at a time, they're not taking in gulps of air. So actually feeding one piece at a time for dogs of deep chested nature is actually better for them, and sort of slows down that mass kind of get a big mouthful. And again, you can still do it, you know, if they're on raw, you just have to prepare a little bit differently. So rather than leaving it all in one bowl mixed together where they have to sort of bite through it, you know, you kind of, dare I say it, you know, roll it up into little sort of meatballs and place it around. So there's a lot you can do, but hopefully that's a nice little insight into what we do first thing in the morning here at Canine Assist. Rebel's busy on a snuffle mat inside. Oh, do you know what? It's a frozen Kong, not a snuffle mat. Snuffle mat's in the car. So yeah, just to give him a bit of interest while I come out and do this with Bliss. So let's just check out, see if anyone's got any questions. And if not, then I will let you enjoy the rest of your morning. Not sure what it's going to be like today, but hopefully it's going to be okay. So yeah, if anyone does have any questions, just pop them in, and we can have a look and see what's going off. But yeah, let me know what you're going to be up to as well. Let me know what you're doing today with your dogs. Good girl. Ready? Like I say, just a very short sort of insight into what we do and disengagement. I mean, it's probably the most important thing that I think that I always talk about and teach. So it's really worth paying into. So I hope you enjoy this little live, and yeah, I'll catch you very soon. So take care, guys. See you soon.